Hey guys, this is Brian from Echo One USA, and in this video I'm going to show you what I believe to be is a strip piston in the Echo One Platinum. I just got it from a customer. He said, hey, it's broken. And when I plugged it in, this is what I see. So I have it on semi-auto, and I pull the trigger. Okay, the nozzle's only going back. So I hear the gear spinning. Let's see if you can hear it. You can see the nozzle moving. You hear the gear spinning. So that means that the nozzle, which is attached to the tappet plate, is being pulled back by the sector gear. So that means the motor is working fine. The bevel gear, the sector or the spur gear, and the sector gear. So the only thing that's broken should be the piston. So let me go ahead and take it apart and see what's wrong with it, and hopefully just pop in a new piston. Check out, see why it did that, and maybe it could have been just a piece of bad material. So I'm going to go ahead and use a Phillips screwdriver. Take out the screw and the little washer on the back. Slide this off. Kind of wiggle it out. And then take off a little sling plate. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a 2mm Allen. Undo the first screw. Second screw, slide that off. Notice no motor plate. It's like a large flathead. Put that aside. Pull on the wires. Pop them up. Notice how you have the red basically forward, like all M4s. Put that aside. Now on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and use a Phillips screwdriver. Take out the 2 Phillips screws. Go ahead and slide that off. The one screw's there, the other one goes there. It came out, so that's fine. Go ahead and put that aside. Now for the lower part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, where did it go? Use a pin, press through, put that aside, and underneath what I'm going to do is press down on here. If you look in the mag wheel, you're going to see how the bolt release moves. You can now slide this out. Slide that out. Use the same punch, and I believe it's from this side. Just tap out. It's grooved on this side. Slide out. Now for this side, you can easily slide this out, but there's also a retaining clip that holds this in place. It's going to come out. You can slide out the gearbox without taking it out, but it's kind of difficult. So what I do is I go ahead and I use a hook and slide it up and out. Make sure not to have it fly out. And okay, there's the pin. There's a little spring for it, and just so you don't lose it, I recommend you clip it on like so, just so you don't lose them. Okay, now gearbox is somewhat wiggly, but I still have mag release. So there's also a video for the mag release. Press in and spin it counterclockwise and out. Now, so this part doesn't jump out, I always put a pin in like so and wiggle it so it doesn't jump up and hit you in the face. Put that aside. Okay, now gearbox is wiggling. Let me go ahead and move it out. It is a tight fit, so be careful. Now to take apart the gearbox, you're going to have to use a flathead. Go ahead and take this out. The reason for this is you don't want the spring guide to be able to wiggle while the spring is going back and forth. So right now I can press on it and it moves a little. Just don't have to wiggle while you're shooting, because that could cause a strip of the piston that it gets jammed and binds. Okay, small Phillips, pop it out, and then the little bolt catch, pop those out. I just leave this alone. There's no real need to take it out. Go ahead and use a hook pull the reversal latch. Okay, what am I doing? Force of habit, sorry. Since the piston is stripped, it's not catching on the spring. There's no real need to do the reverse latch pull, basically like so. But since force of habit and safety, it's always a good thing. That's a good mistake. So go ahead and get your Phillips and take it apart. Interesting. Okay, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but the warning, basically like the telltale sign this gun has been opened, is pretty obvious because there's a sticker that if you can read that, there's no warranty. But here at Echo One, we do whatever we can to make you, the customer, happy. So I'm going to go ahead and fix this, but make notes so there's not a repeat of this, hopefully. So for some guns, if there's no sticker that's obvious, there's other telltale signs to see that the gun has been opened. So I'm watching you. So go ahead, pop it up, make sure nothing's sticking. Okay, spring guide comes out. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yes, this is a strip piston. It's not the end of the world, but it's actually a really good sign. It's not a strip on the back where it just rips off like a fingernail clipping. All this wear is basically from just a hard spring, which it looks like this is the 450 spring that's included in, I think, the second version of the Platinums that are out in the market. So basically when it wears down all like this, that's why they have pistons with metal teeth racks here to prevent issues like this. But for a stock setup, this piston has gone through hell and back, and it finally, after probably looking at the grease on the sides, probably say like a good 20,000 rounds with a very hard spring setup. Not really recommended to abuse your gun like this, but the fact that it lasted that long, that's good in my books. Let me go ahead and pop in a new piston, and I'm just going to go ahead and bam. Okay, I need some grip. Okay. Oh, there's another sign. Also, I took this off. You can see a little crack here. Let me point to it. A little crack here. So once this tooth, the last tooth, once it's basically broken and falls down, this becomes the last tooth, and then this becomes the last tooth until they all get worn down. So that's the main reason. You have the mixture of hard spring plus one metal tooth. So let me go ahead, pull out this little spacer. Okay, I got the little screw and the washer, the piston head. Let me go ahead and pop in the new one. Let me do a little dab of Loctite. Okay. Don't want to do too much Loctite. Go ahead and attach. Oh, and if you're curious, I use a piece of rubber from a bike inner tube for extra grip. So you can have muscles here, but if you don't have a good grip, it's going to be extra difficult. So once that's tightened, good to go. And I'm not just going to guess that's the only thing, even though the pistons look fine. sorry, not the pistons. The gears look fine. Let me go ahead and check out everything else and make sure there's nothing like debris or anything. Okay, looking at everything. Looks good. Looks good. Not broken. Okay. The gears all intact. Little springs there. All intact. All intact. There's a little debris from the plastics. That's still plenty good. I'm going to go ahead and put on some of the little Echo grease, just because. Product placement. Go ahead and put a little here, just helps with the meshing. Does quiet it down a little. You don't want too much, otherwise it'll get everywhere. And also it can be used to hold shims and other little tiny parts in place. When you apply grease here, that helps with the meshing with the motor. So it makes it a little quieter. And that's about it. If you use the red grease, it's really good for the ball bearings. Gets in there, it's not too gummy. Go ahead and drop this in, make sure shims are good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, even though it sounded good when I was shooting it, I'm just going to go ahead and put in the gears, leave the reversal latch on the outside, and seal it up. And basically run my finger through, make sure that the shimming is still good. So, a little grease squirting out, that's fine. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Okay. The fact that you can see the gears spinning, I'm spinning it backwards, but just it's easier, I can get more travel. The fact that it's able to spin that freely, that's good. If you shake it, you don't hear like the gears rattling. If you hear the rattling, that means you're missing shims and basically the plates are banging each other. And not really, it's not going to be good, because you shoot in semi, it sounds fine, but on full auto, the centrifugal force of the gears would spin like kind of like helicopter blades would rise up and hit, so you have this high-pitched whine. You hear that all the time on the field where kids try to upgrade but they don't take the time. So go ahead and that's good to go. Okay. Open this up and notice how the amount of grease I put on there is very evenly distributed. A slight spiral marks could be due to I could add a little more control and more weight by adding a couple more shims on the top for the self-shimming aspect, so it doesn't move up at all. But right now it's very fine. It's very good. I'd leave it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back together. Oh, knocked one of the shims out. Line it back up. What I'm going to do is pull it back with my finger, press down on the reversal latch, like so. Drop it in. Okay. Now you can hear the clicking. I'm just kind of making sure the reversal latch doesn't jump out. Okay, it's good. Let me go ahead and put this in the new piston. Slide it forward. Use the pin. Okay, it's attached. You have the little trigger contact sliding forward. It's good. Make sure that the corner windows here and here are lined up. Okay, the spring. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. press on the cylinder and the back of the spring guide, slide it in, drop it down, press it in a little, poke at the reversal latch just a smidge, drop it in, and good. So press on here, okay, it's springy. Press on the piston and you'll see it go back. Okay, good to go. Now put it back together with the screws. Also pay attention to how you have the flat base and the cone ones. They only go in certain places. Go ahead and pop this out. Okay, now just about done. For a regular M4 you don't see this, and for this, so make sure you put this back in here. If you change out, like say a different stock and buffer tube, like a Magpul one, I guess that's popular these days. I've never heard of Magpul. Nah, I'm just joking. But like say if you have a longer a screw that would go for your buffer tube, you can actually take this out and you can have it actually go inside like a regular plastic body or any other M4, you know. Okay, for the little spring, you have it go in this little notch and it's held down here so it's springy. Go ahead and get the little Phillips. Tighten down all the way. Make sure that it's still springy. And this little clip here, make sure it doesn't fly off. Okay, so it's springy. That's good. Flip it over. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and drop the lower in. I'm going to go ahead and make sure. Okay, that's all good. Okay, pull the trigger. Okay, now when you pull a trigger and it doesn't move on semi mode, what you want to do is make sure that your sector gear and the cutoff lever. Okay, there you go. Basically what you want to do is cycle the gears so the cutoff lever raises up just a smidge, so then when you pull a trigger on semi, otherwise it's like right in the middle. You have to raise it up and then you can move. Eclipsed. It's not going to tap in. There you go. Flush, flush. Okay, now for this little pin, be careful, do not lose this little clip or have it fly off and hit you. So go ahead, slide the pin in. When what I do is I basically have, well, let me show you. Say this, my hand is the gearbox shell. What I do is I have this pin go all the way like that, flush just about, so it's flush with the gearbox shell is flush with this, so I can slide this little clip on the gearbox shell and onto here. Let me go ahead and line it up, and I kind of hold that with my thumb like so it doesn't drop down or move out of place. Line this up. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully. Okay, and then I use pair of pliers, pull on either side. Oh crap, magnet. Okay, I've got to be quick. Okay, okay, got it. Now, pop it in and good. I'm going to go ahead and, well, if we put the bolt release in first, you're going to have a hard time installing the mag release. So put the mag release in first. You have the main bar, the spring. Then you have the outer side of the button and the inside. Make sure the outer side is on the outer side. Okay. Basically you get like one half thread. Press in and now turn clockwise. Okay. Basically want to make it flush. If it's too loose for your liking, you can make another revolution. Have the screw threading come out a little further if you want to make this a little tighter. But when it's flush, that's factory stock. Okay, now you can put this in. Slide it in like so, and then you have to attach it to this little part. So if you look in the mag well, let's see if you can see in there. If you look in the mag well, see how it's kind of moving, the little gray part on this side, it's moving. And then here, you have to basically line it up like so. Okay, so now you have it lined up. Now you can pull this little pin, press it in like so. Now it's not really going to fall out because there's a little O-ring in there, but if you want, if you take this apart a lot, a little drop of Loctite, kind of like M14 series, hold it in place, and you'll be good to go. So now when you press on the trigger, you're going to see it move down. I mean, sorry, not press on the trigger, press on the bolt release, you're going to see it move down just a little so. Good to go. Now, for the motor grip. Remember, there's one screw there and one loose there. No worries. And go ahead and tighten one screw. Not a big fan of the magnetic tools. It's not really a magnet, it's just like a snug fit. You can always use a little bit of grease to hold it in place too. So I just don't like magnets because they pick up the stuff you don't want when you don't want them to. But whatever floats your boat, go for it. Okay, grip's on there nice and firm. For the wires, see if you can see in there how the red wire goes to the back. Black wires on the back already. Drop in. Make sure red is to the front. Drop it in. It's springy. Good to go. Plug in the black wire. Plug in the red wire. If it's too loose, you can use a pair of pliers and crimp just a smidge. And if you do too much, don't freak out. You can use a small flathead. Just kind of open it up. Pop it back on. Press down. Okay, notice how it's flush on the outside. Okay, go ahead and tighten it down. Good to go. Let me plug it in now, and it should be working a-okay now. Firing. Good. Okay, I have plenty of air coming out. Good seal. Tap the plate and the nozzle are moving freely. If I tap it just nice and smooth, you can see the piston there. Okay, good. I'm Brian. Oh, let me go ahead and, before I finish, let me show you how to put this back on in case anybody has any questions. This is the castle nut. You can tighten this so when you have this screw, oh, I'll show you. Almost ended the video early. It's not even Friday. Okay, it's in place. Okay, basically I have this scooted out. Notice how there's a cut for the wires. Kind of pull the wires, drop it in, shake it, make it settle. Use the flathead or Phillips, depending on what tool you want to use. There's a cut for both. Go ahead and tighten down. Now you notice it's tight, it's on there secured, but if I use this, the castle nut, to tighten, I can actually use, if you have a super cool channel lock, or not channel lock, if you have a super cool AR wrench that has the lug, then you can, but if not, what we can do is you can use a flathead and just tap it a little and it'll be good. Basically this pulls the buffer tube this way while the screw's pressing that way, so it's really tight. So go ahead and switch to safe. Scoot the wires back in. Put the stock on. You want to pull. You have adjustment. Pull to take off. Or put it back on. Pop it back on. Okay. And that's how I replaced the piston from Echo 1 Platinum real quick. So yeah, I'm Brian from Echo 1 USA, and thanks for watching.